We've got some breaking news out of college football where Texas A&M is expected to fire head coach Jimbo Fisher. That's coming from multiple reports. The University of Regents reportedly met earlier this week to discuss Fisher's future ahead of a 51-10 victory over Mississippi State Saturday. He'd be owed roughly $75 million if he is indeed let go. Fisher took over in College Station beginning in 2018, brought in several highly touted recruiting classes, but that didn't translate to high-level success on the field. Fisher 45-25 with the Aggies, including 6-4 so far this season. I'm Tommy Tran, joined by Brady Quinn. So, Brady, when we're learning the news this morning, what's your first reaction to Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher?
You know, we've heard rumblings of this throughout the course of the season. Depending on how this year went for Jimbo Fisher, there was a group that would be looking at buying him out, regardless of how big that buyout is, which is looking to be the largest in college football, at least that we've seen in recent history. But it really dates back, I think, to the lack of success that he's been able to have after some of his past success. Look at Florida State. Wins a national championship in the BCS. They get to the college football playoff the following year in the semifinal game. They were never able to replicate that moving forward. And he started to lose the culture really in that locker room throughout the course of his time there. He comes to Texas A&M. He starts to kind of build up the program there, very similar to some of these big-time recruiting classes, NIL, all the different things that are involved in this. And he wasn't able to really build back the culture that I think they're hoping for in Texas A&M to have the success to compete in the SEC West. And oh, by the way, that conference is only going to get more competitive with OU and Texas coming in, two teams that are going to take even more of those recruits out of the state of Texas.
So just within the last 10, 12 years, obviously conference change for Texas A&M. Kevin Sumlin and Johnny Football came across, and then Jimbo Fisher. Now, I mentioned the recruiting classes, which was at the top a couple seasons ago. It didn't pan out. Why has the Aggies maybe underachieved for those expectations in College Station?
Well, the first thing is I think we look at the AP preseason rankings and we see the expectation of what they can be. A lot of that's based on the fact that it's Texas A&M. They've got these talented recruiting classes that they should translate onto the field, and it just hasn't. I mean, offensively, which is supposed to be his calling card, they've struggled. They've struggled to be able to develop a quarterback. They've struggled to be able to have competent quarterback play, and a lot of that falls on the shoulders of Jimbo Fisher when that's what you do, or that's at least what you're known for. And honestly, it's where he had success during his time at Florida State with Jameis Winston. So I think it's been a number of things. I think it's been lack of quarterback development, lack of being able to maintain the culture in the locker room with so many talented recruits and be able to put it all together. He's got a good staff. It's just surprising they can't get the results that they're looking for. But the bottom line is this wasn't a surprise. We kind of knew if they didn't succeed this season that Jimbo Fisher could be on the outs.
One more thing before I get to Jimbo Fisher. Again, Texas A&M, where they're currently constructed here, where do you think they look in terms of a stylistic type of head coach to get them where they want to be? You
know, sometimes you see schools look for that hot name right now, and obviously Mike Elko at Duke has been a coach who's done a tremendous job with the Duke program building that up. He's also a defensive-minded head coach, something that they may want to go opposite of where they went with Jimbo Fisher, and a different personality in that sense. They could want to go with a big personality. You look at what Deion Sanders was able to do in 1 year's time for Colorado. I know they've been struggling of late, but still they've already far surpassed their win total from just a year ago. It's a much improved team. He's able to turn over that roster. In the world of NIL and the transfer portal, you can do something like that. And when you have enough money to buy out a coach for $70+ million, you're also going to have enough money to be able to entice someone like Deion Sanders. The tough thing is obviously Shedeur Sanders is there, Shiloh's there. A lot of those kids aren't going to be able to transfer with him, and that would be a consideration. But there's a lot of guys out there. There's Urban Meyer, who's obviously not coaching right now, but has won three national championships. I'm sure his name will be servicing as part of all of this. And then there's some other coaches who are maybe flying under the radar that have done a tremendous job. Lance Leipold, Chris Kleiman, guys who have been program builders at smaller places. You give them more resources, you give them more of an opportunity to compete at this sort of level, I think they can build a championship team.
And final thought here in Jimbo Fisher, what do you think's next for him? Obviously, if he gets bought out, he has a little bit of time to assess what he wants to do next.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got $70 million coming your way, he doesn't have to do anything anytime soon. Probably get back into it, and I don't know if you end up joining. It'd be tough to think he'd be joining Nick Saban's staff. That's usually where a lot of coaches go. They go through the car wash there. They come out on the other side better. We usually say that with Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots, but that's how it works in college football. The problem is, because I think him and Nick Saban have gone back and forth with the whole NIL debate and conversation, so wouldn't Nick Saban be willing to accept him on his staff? I don't know. Maybe Kirby Smart would be more open to bring him on there in Georgia, but he's a respected offensive mind. We know he can recruit. We've seen the classes he's been able to put together. There will be a desire to bring him on. The question just comes, how, does he want to take a year off? Does he want to sit out and reassess really where he's at in his career?
All right, Brady, certainly appreciate it. I know as we are speaking at the moment, the Cover 3 podcast has an emergency pod regarding Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M. Make sure you scan that QR code and check out the guys at Cover 3. It's Chip Patterson, Bud Elliott, Danny Cannell, and Tom Fornelli.